Hi, I'm Eric Naso, and this is my user review of the Canon C100. Well, I was lucky enough to be able to get my hands on this camera because it just came out. I rented it from Lens Rentals over there in Tennessee, and I was able to get it for about a week, and it really worked out well. I had two working projects. These are real projects, so I was able to really try out the camera in a working situation, not just pull it out, shoot flowers in the backyard and cats and kids. So it was a lot of fun. The shoots were mainly handheld, one full day, a very long day, all handheld, and it worked out really well. With the image stabilization that you can use on the EOS lenses, it was really easy and it looked really nice. A couple of big features on this camera is the ergonomics. I think that's probably one of the big sells to this body design, is that it is so ergonomic. I mean, it's kind of like an oversized DSLR. It has the pistol grip, it has a nice form-fitting pistol grip too. I mean, this really fits in your hand and gives you a lot of stability. The button placements on there are really nice. You have your tally button up on top to record. Then you have your f-stop changes you make with the wheel up here. And then you have this little joystick here for going through the menu settings and being able to go in and change all the settings. But one of the big ones, and this is a big one, magnification. 2x magnification while you're shooting as well. Yes, that's right, while you're shooting. So you can be setting up your shot, you're shooting for audio, and you're just like, hey, is this really in focus? I'm not really sure. I thought it was. Tap it, look at it, boom, in and out, 2x. It's awesome. A lot of cameras don't have that, so that's a great feature. Let's go ahead and show you more on the other side of the camera with the buttons. What I really like about the way the buttons are laid out on the side is they're very, very visible, very easy to see, very easy to read. They're all numbered, so I'm assuming that you can go in and change them, but I think changing them would be confusing because they're already labeled, so I'm not really sure if you'd want to do that or not. But right up here on the side, here on the round portion of the body, you have waveform monitor, zebra, peaking, and magnify. And so you have magnify also on the side of the body as well as on the pistol grip, it's pretty nice. Then you have your status, your white balance, and your custom white balance. You can also go into your picture profiles here on the side as well. That's where you would want to change if you want to shoot log mode or any of the other custom modes on there. Also, you have some of here, your ISO gain, your shutter, and your push auto iris. You also have a one-shot autofocus on the front, so you can use that, frame it up, hold it, you get a nice kind of a little square, turns white, red, green. And when it hits on green, you know everything's in focus. And also nicely put right under the lens, you have your neutral density filters. Now these go in stages of 2 stops all the way up to 6. So you have 0, 2, 4, and 6. Huge. That's really nice that they added on there. Now this is not an electronic one like in the C300. It's manual, so you're going to have to go ahead and go through, turning it. And it's stiff, which is nice because if it wasn't so stiff, maybe you would bump it while you're shooting, and then you would end up maybe in between or in the wrong one, wondering what's going on, why did my lighting change so dramatically. So I really like the way the buttons are placed on the side of the camera. There's really no buttons on the other side at all, except for one right here on the right. That's the only one you got. It's a tally button, a record button, record stop. And other than that, then you have your battery release, but that's not something you're going to be using all the time for any functions. So it's really nice and clean, super simple. You can pretty much get away with doing everything that you need to do on the side of the camera unless you need to get into the menu. A big difference between the C300 and the C100 ergonomically is where they place the LCD screen. It's here on the back, and all you can really do with it is flip it open and flip it down. That's it. It can be a problem if you want to shoot from the side of the camera because you can't turn it. It's kind of locked in there. It's up against the body. It's also slightly tilted, which makes it a little tough if you're on a tripod. I had it on a slider the other day. I was doing lots of slide motions on all the talent shots, and having the camera up at eye level made it a little more difficult to see to the LCD screen. So it would have been nice if it was off to the side and you can actually tilt it down more like an AF100 or most cameras that have the LCD screen that are on the side. but it is a very high quality LCD screen, no eye cup, which is kind of disappointing. I had a tough time. I was shooting all outside handheld the first day, and putting your eye up there, getting your forehead, and I'm not a caveman. I don't have a huge forehead, but I'm still having a hard time getting my eye in there. And you see, it just doesn't fit. You really got to cram it in there, and then when you cram it in there, your eyelashes are up against the viewfinder glass, and it just doesn't work very well. I really wish they would have put an eye cup, just like they have on the AF100 and most of the cameras that we use. This is very similar to what you would see on like a Canon, a 5D or a DSLR camera. So I don't know why they did that. I was getting a lot of light leak. So I was shooting in the sun, and then the sun is reflecting into the viewfinder, creating these hot spots in there, and it was just very difficult to work with. So anyway, I think maybe a third-party vendor of some kind would be able to come up with a real good solution for this. It could be another piece of rubber that has some kind of attachment for it to lock it down so it doesn't flop off all the time. Another thing about the viewfinder that I didn't really like too much was diopter. I need to wear reading glasses, so I need to use the diopter. Now, it's so close to the back of the camera that it's kind of like if you're holding the camera here and you're trying to look through and you're trying to get the diopter, it's really tough to do. In fact, it kind of looks like I'm picking my nose, which is something I really don't want to be doing while I'm shooting. People will be looking at me fixing the diopter, and they're probably thinking, well, what's this guy got his finger up his nose for? But no, really, it's not a good design. It's kind of tough to use. Once you got it set, though, I'm sure you don't have to set it up very often, but I found it too to be, it's very touchy. It's not a, it's not gonna lock in kind of feeling like the neutral density filters do. But I would say overall, that's probably one of my more disappointing parts of the camera. I may have not liked the LCD screen placement while shooting, but for reviewing your media, it's actually in a pretty good spot. All of the buttons that you need to review your material is right off to the right, and literally just right next to it, and it makes reviewing your clips very simple. When I first saw images of the C100, the way the handle was sitting on top, it looks kind of funny, it just kind of hangs over the top. But it might look funny, but it really works. It distributes the weight so that your hand is right on top of the lens, which is really important. If it was back here, then it would be unbalanced. And if you want to shoot with your, holding the handle like that would really work well because the camera's more balanced. This lens is a 24-105. If I'm holding it right here at the handle, it's perfectly balanced. I had a 70-200 f4 on there, and that worked really well. I didn't use anything bigger than that. A 70-200 2.8 would probably be a lot heavier, but I can't imagine that it wouldn't be easy to carry with the handle. Another feature that's interesting is the way they incorporated audio. Now, the two XLR jacks on the top are being fed to the camera from this one cable. Now, this one cable it's a multi-pin cable, and it feels real sturdy. I mean, it's very heavy duty. It's got a heavy duty, kind of a style of way of it's mounted into the handle, but it is permanently mounted into the handle. So if you have any problems with this cable, off to Canon it goes, and I don't know. I would only be guessing how much it would cost to get it repaired, but I'm sure it wouldn't be real cheap. Now it fits in there nice and tight, pops in, ain't coming out. It locks. It's one of those kind that you pull the little base up and then it pops out. But it sits in there nice. I don't think it's really in the way, so I don't think you'll have any problems with it, but only time will tell. And the handle does come off, and you can go real small if you want to. Just pops right off, and that's it. But when you pop it off, you don't have audio anymore because the handle has a built-in stereo left and right audio into it, which is nice, built-in audio. So if you just want to kind of just get more, reference audio, I'm sure that would be just fine. But it does have a hot shoe, or this is actually a cold shoe, and you can put another microphone in here like a Rode, and they work really well. And you can plug it in because it has an input for it right here on the side. So that's a nice feature. You can go super tight and light. fit it into anywhere you want, shooting in cars, down low. I mean, it's really an interesting way to shoot and not have to have this top handle on there if you don't care. And the grip, I mean, without it, it really looks like a DSLR. I mean, people would not even know you're shooting video, to be honest with you. It almost looks just like a, you know, kind of a fancy stills camera to go real stealth. The C100 records on SD cards. Now you can record simultaneously on both cards, so you have an immediate backup. That way, if you're in a situation where you're really concerned about losing media, it's a one-time shot, it might be worth using that feature. In order to keep the camera running cool, Canon added some fans to this one. You can hear them when they're on. In default setting, when I got it, they were set to be on all the time. I was a little worried about that because I was capturing audio on all the shoots. So I went in the menu and I turned it off, and I turned it to auto. And that way, I guess when the camera gets warm, it'll automatically turn on until it gets cool enough to operate. The fan is built into the back of the camera. Their intake here is by the grip. And then on the other side, you have the exhaust vent. It worked really well because it never kicked in. And you know, I'm here in San Diego, and the shooting day was probably around 68 degrees, so the camera did just fine. Something that I feel is missing with the C100 is an SDI output. It only has an HDMI out. Now, a lot of cameras now have SDI out. Even my AF100 has an SDI out, and that camera's 2 years old. But that's okay, I guess, if you don't really need SDI out. I think at this level, we're talking about a $65,000, almost $7,000 camera. And I think that's kind of, well, lousy. Put an SDI on it. Well, one of my favorite things about the Canon C100, it's ergonomics. This camera was designed for us. Very, very easy to handhold. It's not heavy. The pistol grip is in the right place. The buttons are in the right place. It's a camera you can really just take out of the box, learn how to use it, and then go. You don't really need to add a lot of bits to it. It's ready to go. The placement of all the buttons, it's just right. It's really, really nice. Don't take for granted IS. Canon makes great lenses with image stabilization, and on the C100, it works so well. I was zoomed into 105 and on this 24-105, and I was getting some pretty solid looking shots. They kind of look like tripod shots, so I was really surprised. But all in all, yeah, great camera, easy to shoot with. I think Canon has a winner on their hands.